Hello friends, welcome to another session on methodology of teaching natural science. In this session we are going to discuss the topic learning as a generative process. I hope you remember the theoretical foundations and principles of constructivism, where we have discussed the importance of prior knowledge in the sessions before. What already exists in the learner's cognitive structure has a great influence on the mastery of new concepts. New concepts are directly or indirectly related to this pre-existing knowledge, but this mere prerequisite knowledge will not help in meaningful learning. Pupils must know the relevance of the prerequisites in learning a new concept. In this session, we are going to discuss the role of learners in constructing the knowledge. Module 1, Knowledge Construction. Knowledge is thought of as being actively built up or constructed by the learners as they analyze their learning experience. This itself is the principle of constructivism. So, learning is a process generated by learners. Learning is the process of building up the tree of cognition, where we are adding new branches to the existing one. The science educationist Rosalind Driver opined, the key feature of a constructivist epistemology is that human beings construct mental models of their world and new experiences are interpreted and understood in relation to existing mental models or schema. In the past, behaviorist views of learning have been popular. However, more recently in science education, they have been questioned. There has been a shift in thinking about learning and teaching towards a view where learning is not seen as a passive representation but as an active reconstruction and reinterpretation of experiences. The constructivist approach to education attempts to shift education from a teacher-dominated focus to a student-centered one. This makes students more interesting and enthusiastic in learning science. The science textbook prepared by NCERT just provides guidelines of activities, and it is the learners that have a major role in making these guidelines into a creative experiences. Learner autonomy and initiative is accepted and encouraged throughout the science textbook. Preconception and misconception. Prior learning will not become prerequisite unless it is incorporated into new learning. This incorporation of prior knowledge is possible only through proper teaching methods. The prerequisites should be properly determined before teaching a difficult concept. Prior knowledge has a great influence on the mastery of new concepts. New concepts are directly or indirectly related to prior knowledge or prerequisites. Ausubel rightly says, if we had to reduce all of educational psychology to just one principle, we would say this: the most important single factor influencing learning is what the learner already knows. Ascertain this and teach him accordingly. A preconception can be right or wrong, and that does not matter. What matters is that a preconception is essential for further learning. If it is right, you can straight away build in the new concept, and if it is wrong, first correct it and then build your new cognition. By seeing or hearing, we get superficial ideas about many things and form a mental representation prior to getting actual knowledge or experience. Adding new knowledge or changing of existing ideas require process skills such as thinking, experimenting, generalizing, observing, etc. These process skills should be applied in systematic and scientific way, otherwise it leads to misconception. A misconception happens when a person believes in a concept that is objectively false. Due to the subjective nature of being human, it can be assumed that everyone has some kind of misconception. Misrepresentation of a concept is not a misconception but may produce a misconception. Module 2, Children's Science. The content of science is used to develop an individual child with a well-developed personality. It helps the learner to solve their day-to-day life. As science is an experimental subject, child learns the content through activities and experiments. In children's science, the content, methods of learning and evaluation must be based on the interest, attitudes and aptitudes of the child. Learning is the modification of behavior. The modification differs from person to person as their past is different. No two minds react identically in the same situation. Small children want to be part of your world. The best way to encourage your child to try new skills is to demonstrate precisely and slowly in simple ways that he can understand. Then give him time to practice and to be allowed to make his own mistakes and correct them. Try looking at the world from your child's perspective. By giving him clear boundaries and careful guidelines, you can allow him to learn how to do things for himself and give him the self-respect and confidence that come with independence. We have not yet created schools based on the child-centered approach, but just goes to show how much is there in the curriculum and what the teacher thinks is important for them to learn, has ignored the source of real motivation. There is no time for children to explore to satisfy their potentially ever-expanding curiosity. Just imagine a class that really values students' questions and utilizes them to create an emerging, ever-evolving curriculum. Imagine teachers dedicated to helping their students research answers to their questions appropriate to their developmental level. Such a teacher would ever be on the alert to tap into students' natural curiosity. Environmental events, as well as providing potentially stimulating experiences that might capture students' attention. Such a creative teacher would interact to help students dig deeply into things that concern them. Such teachers would challenge the students to consider other possibilities, always leaving the final choice to the students themselves. A wise teacher knows that students will change their minds when it makes sense to them. Maybe the time has come for teachers to throw away their curricula and work alongside the students to develop learning around what captures the students' curiosity. Many of the things that we do every day involve several different skills, each of which we learned along the way. By breaking tasks down into small steps, you can help your child to master each level of difficulty one at a time. Explain each step with just a few words as you demonstrate it, so your child concentrates on what you are doing rather than what you are saying. Then let your child practice until she is competent at each stage. Learning to ride a bicycle is a good analogy. When children are ready, parents often give them a tricycle and let them learn how to mount and dismount, how to steer and how to work the pedals. Next, children choose a bike of the right size equipped with the training wheels. Slowly they become more and more confident until they ask us to remove the training wheels and they are off. Step by step, this process of mastering an everyday skill is made easier by careful planning and patient instruction and support from parents. Children are born with a marvelous imagination and a keen desire to explore the world. Encourage this in your child. Help her to discover the beauty and wonder of everything around her. Learner as a scientist. Children are widely viewed as scientists in their effort to sense to natural phenomena. John Dewey emphasized the nature of child thinking as of research processes. They naturally and unknowingly apply the principles of scientific methods. Young kids think and learn about their surroundings much the way the scientists think and learn in advanced experiments. They form hypotheses, test them, collect data, analyze their findings and learn from their actions and the actions of others, all in child's play. Children have an inbuilt drive for discovery. Maria Montessori believed that all children behave like little scientists, in that they are eager to observe and make what-if discoveries about their world. Herbert Zim says, children are scientists, is a truth worth repeating with emphasis. They are also artists, musicians and social beings we know. But young children particularly are more scientists than they are anything else, making him aware of cause and effect. Young children never hesitate to offer an explanation of even complicated phenomena. They may be completely in error, but they develop a surprising logic in the hypothesis they set forth. It has been repeatedly suggested that Scientists have made their great creative progress because some have been able to preserve and use these very qualities that we see so clearly in the young child. Characteristics of student-initiated learning. Student-initiated learning is just opposite to the traditional teacher-initiated learning. Its major characteristics are as follows. 1. Learner has a major role. 2. It is constructivist in approach. 3. The classroom is highly flexible. 4. It focuses on students' experiences. And the last, it emphasizes active participation of learner and knowledge construction. Module 3. Behaviorism and Constructivism. In last sessions, you might have learned the theories and classroom applications of behaviorism and constructivism. Here let us discuss the differences between them. First of all, behaviorism. Behavioral psychology, also known as behaviorism, is a theory of learning based upon the idea that all behaviors are acquired through conditioning. Conditioning occurs through interaction with the environment. According to behaviorism, behavior can be studied in a systematic and observable manner with no consideration of internal mental states. The aspects of behaviorism can be listed as follows. First one, it is teacher-centered. Second, content-oriented. Third, emphasizes teaching. Fourth, learner as a receiver of knowledge. Fifth one, extrinsic motivation leads to learning. Sixth, learner viewed as empty vessels. Seventh, learning as a mechanical process. Eighth, learning is stimulus-response relationship. Ninth, same approach for all age group. 10th, rewards, punishments and reinforcements make learning effective. 11th one, learning is behavior modification. 12th, importance to products of learning. 13, founded on the behaviorist theories of learning. 14, uses external motives to motivate. 15, competition is the main driving force of motivation. 16, breadth of content coverage is most important. Now let us discuss constructivism. Constructivism is a philosophy of learning founded on the premise that by reflecting on our experiences, we construct our own understanding of the world we live in. Each of us generates our own rules and mental models, which we use to make sense of our experiences. Learning, therefore, is simply the process of adjusting our mental models to accommodate new experiences. The different aspects of constructivism can be listed as follows. 1. Learner-centered. 2. Process-oriented. 3. Emphasizes learning. 4. Learner as constructor of knowledge. 5. Intrinsic motivation leads to learning. 6. Learner with unique abilities. 7. Learning is a natural process. 8. Learning is active mental process. 9th, approaches of learning will be different based on developmental stages. 10th, problem solving through experiences in a collaborative learning situation makes learning effective. 11, learning is conceptual change and addition. 12, importance to the process aspects of learning. 13, founded on the cognitive theories of learning. 14, internal motives are valued. 15, cooperation is ensured than competition. 16, depth of understanding is more important. Module 4, collaborative learning. The first principle of true teaching is that nothing can be taught. The teacher is not an instructor or taskmaster. He is a helper and a guide. These are the words of the eminent philosopher Aurobindo. It stresses the need for a child-centered approach. Child-centered learning is considered to be a philosophy as opposed to a methodology. A child-centered teacher tries to create an environment which will motivate the children to discover new skills and knowledge. Teachers are no longer supposed to transfer facts into passive students' heads, but rather they are expected to facilitate the discovery of relevant information. Relatively little all-class teaching takes place. Rather, teachers use methods such as peer tutoring, individual and group projects, and teacher conferencing with one student while the rest of the class works alone. Collaborative learning is one among those methods. As we have discussed earlier, collaborative learning is based on social constructivism. It is a personal philosophy and not just a classroom technique, which respects and highlights individual group members' abilities and contributions. In collaborative learning methodology, consensus building through cooperation is ensured in contrast to competition among group members. Now let us discuss principles of collaborative learning. There are 6 major principles in collaborative learning. Let us discuss each one. First one, working together results in a greater understanding than would likely have occurred if one had worked independently. Second, spoken and written interactions contribute to this increased understanding. Third, participation is voluntary and must be freely entered into. Fourth, the learners will be self-motivated managers of both their time and their learning. Fifth, students share various roles in learning such as team leader, encourager, reteller, recorder, spokesman, etc. Sixth, as they work collaboratively, they learn from a variety of viewpoints. Difference between collaborative learning and conventional learning. Collaborative learning is based on constructivism. So, learner is the center around which all educational process revolves. But the later is based on behaviorism. Here teacher is the authoritarian. In collaborative learning, learner is considered to be the active participant and has a major role in the construction of knowledge. On the other hand, learner has only a passive receiver of knowledge. Collaborative learning emphasizes cognition through self-directed learning and evaluation. But the conventional learning emphasizes drill and repetition. Teacher directs the learning and evaluation. In collaborative learning, interaction among the students is encouraged. It doesn't have any scope in conventional learning and views development of learner as biological. Collaborative learning considers the role of society in the development of the learner. The classroom structure is also different. It is flexible for collaborative learning and rigid for conventional learning. Students working together as heterogeneous groups in collaborative learning, but in conventional, no group work is encouraged, and if it is there, it is made as homogeneous. Collaborative and cooperative learning are used as synonyms. Though there are many similarities, they are different in many aspects. Similarities between cooperative and collaborative learning. The terms collaborative learning and cooperative learning sometimes are used interchangeably in the sense of the following similarities. First, they stress the importance of active learning. Second, the teacher acts as facilitator. Third, teaching and learning are experiences shared by both the student and the teacher. Fourth, both enhance higher order cognitive skills. Fifth, greater emphasis is placed on students' responsibility for taking charge of her or his learning. Sixth, both involves situations where students must articulate ideas in small groups. Seventh, both help students to develop social and team building skills. Eighth, increase student success and information retention. Ninth, utilize students' diversity. 10th, students assess individual and group performance. Differences between cooperative and collaborative learning. In cooperative learning, students receive training in social skills in small groups. In collaborative learning, there is the belief that students already have the necessary social skills and that they will build on their existing skills in order to reach their goals. Next, in cooperative learning, activities are structured with each student having a specific role. In collaborative learning, students organize and negotiate efforts themselves. Next, in cooperative learning, the teacher observes, listens and intervenes in a group when necessary. In collaborative learning, the activity is not monitored by the instructor. When questions are directed towards the teacher guides the students to information needed. Last, in cooperative learning, students submit work at the end of class for evaluation. In collaborative learning, students retain drafts to complete further work. That's all. Managing group learning in a classroom. Classroom management in a constructivist theory means provide a conducive environment for the construction of knowledge. To be an effective classroom manager, the teacher must learn to exercise the least amount of power. The tips for managing group learning can be listed as follows. First, the task to be performed in the group should be planned well before and told clearly before the children. If the activity is an experiment, provide the required learning materials and handouts to assist them to consolidate the results. Second, provide clear directions and monitor the classroom environment. Keep the records of students' responses. Third, take the variety of roles like a guide, facilitator, scaffolder, co-learner, etc. assigned to the teacher. Last, create strategies to develop a democratic atmosphere in the classroom. Thereby the learner won't hesitate to participate in the learning process. Now let us summarize what we have discussed in this session. Gagné defines the term prerequisite as a capability of prior learning which is incorporated in new learning. The previously learned entity actually enters into newly learned capability and remains a part of the behavior. Too much teaching simply goes against the grain of the way students naturally learn. Children can explore the secret behind a phenomenon. Let them observe the world and feel a sense of wonder for everything in it. All normal children possess curiosity about their environment, a quality that is essentially scientific. Students are testing ideas and approaches based on their prior knowledge. Scientific method is the process adopted by them to conceptualize and solve problems faced them as scientists follow. As a result, teachers rarely stand in front of the class and teach a lesson. Instead, activity centers may be set up around the room with the children moving from station to station. Or students might be assigned to work together in groups on a project. This method is constructivist in approach, which is against the traditional behaviorist classroom. Now there are few assignments for you to work out. First assignment. Make an imaginary observation report of a constructivist classroom where the teacher trainee uses misconcepts and preconcepts for constructing the knowledge. Second one. Consider a behaviorist classroom and list the precautions and suggestions to correct the trainee for uplifting children as scientists. Third one. List out the similarities and differences of collaborative learning and cooperative learning. Fourth one. Make a comparison on the role of the learner in a conventional classroom and a constructivist classroom. And the last, how will you promote collaborative learning experience in your classroom? Now let me suggest a few more references for your further reading. How Pupils Learn, Theory, Research and Practice by Kumar S.P.K., Kanishka Publications, New Delhi in 2006. Cooperative Learning in the Thinking Classroom, Research and Theoretical Perspectives by Lee C., a paper presented at the International Conference on Thinking in Singapore on 1997. Methods and Techniques of Teaching by S.K. Kochar, published by Sterling Publishers Private Limited in 2003. Websites: www.tammypython.net, www.londonmet.ac.uk. Thank you for watching this program. We will meet again on next session with another topic. Bye.